So we're going to fillet this wee trout. Ready for a Gravlax. Going to do a bit of a Botanist Gin Gravlax with it. So I'm going to cut around the shoulders and around the head. You can see how fresh it is. Now I'm going to run the knife all the way down the back, just like that. I'm going to use a tea towel, I think, to steady it. That is a sign of how long it's not been out of the water. I'm going to keep my knife nice and flat and just run all the way down the backbone, pop out the tail, just like that. Take off one fillet, then turn it over and do the same again. The second fillet, let's take them off the ribs and then discard the bones. Now we're going to just take off the fins so it looks nice and pretty. Just going to take the little backbones out and then the same on the other side, just like that. And then we're now going to pin the fish. This is obviously easier done once it's cooked, but as this is going to be a Gravlax, we're going to take them out now. Now we pinned them, we're going to make up a little cure. Very simple. Half sugar, half salt. The salt's quite important. You want to use, we're using a bit of Malden here, but you want to use a nice sea salt, no rock salt, not table salt either, because it's got anti-caking agents in it, so that sort of impedes the cure. So you want to use a nice natural one if you can. So you're going to, very simple, you can use brown sugar as well. We're using white to keep it nice and clean, because we're also going to cover it in loads and loads of Botanist gin. So we wanted that colour to stay there. I'm just going to chop up a little bit of dill as well. So this is mainly for the flavour, the dill here. We'll recoat it as it comes out of the cure. So this doesn't need to be too fine a chop. You just want it to be enough to really impart the flavour into the fish, just like that. And then we're going to make a bed of salt and sugar. And then we're going to go skin side down, just push it into the salt. Same again, the other fillet. And then we're going to cover the fish in our cure mix. Make sure that the entire fish is covered. We're just going to do a slightly raised ridge along the thickest part of the fish. And that just helps draw the water out of the moisture out of the fish, and less so on the belly, because that will cure very quickly indeed. Then the good bit, plenty of gin. When you think you've done enough gin, pour a bit more on, and then another little bit, and then some more. That should do. And then just redo your little mound of salt, cure. And actually you can feel the salt's already working its magic, so it's already starting to stiffen the thinner parts of the fish already. And then we're going to add the dill. Don't be shy with the dill. It'll work with this Botanist gin really well, actually. They're going to probably be in here for about half an hour. You've got to play it by ear. It's not going to take anywhere near as long as a larger trout. So we're just going to keep watching that, and every few minutes we're going to re-baste it with the gin and cure mix and make sure that that dill is really working into the flesh. And when you're happy, pour a bit more gin on it. There you go. So I'm going to leave that for about half an hour and then recheck it. Cool. So this wonderful fresh bit of trout has been cured in our gin, salt, sugar, lots of dill, and then a bit more gin. So he's already, you can see the texture's changed, very much like the ceviche. It's much firmer than when it went in. It's beautiful, and you can really feel the texture change in it. And like we said before, less salt on the belly because that cures much quicker because it's much thinner, a lot thicker along the loin. Now we're going to start to slice it. And you want it wafer thin. So we'll go down at kind of like an angle and then just roll off the bottom of the skin. I like to go down onto the skin and try and pick up some of that fat on the bottom there, because I just think it's amazing. It's the best bit of the throat anyway. Now this was curing for about 45 minutes or so. If you wanted to keep this for longer, you would let that cure kind of work in a lot longer. Well, I'd say a lot longer, about an hour and a half, and that would then actually penetrate entirely through the fish, and you'll actually get something that's kind of something you can actually preserve a little longer. This is going to be quite a nice quick snack, kind of like a canapé really, that you'd have at 11 o'clock on the riverbank with a gin tonic. Very simple. Some really good bread. It's essential. We're going to go quite thin. I say, you're not too thick because this is a kind of a nice light snack to go with your gin and tonic. We've made up a horseradish creme fraiche with a little bit of dill in there. I think I'm going to add a little bit more. Now this is wild horseradish that grows literally everywhere. If you find one bit, you usually find an entire plantation of the stuff. So we've put quite a little bit in there. We're not shy with that. I couldn't find a spoon, so putting on with a bit of celery. We're going to spread on a good layer of cream or creme fraiche. Just like that. A bit of pepper. Use some of this watercress that again grown out the test, so it's quite nice. We've just taken the succulent bits off the top, and that will work quite nicely with the horseradish cream. It's got a similar bite to it. Then we're going to dress with the gin cured test trout. Another little scattering of pepper, I think. And then I'm going to grate a little bit of beetroot over the top as well, just because it will look pretty. Gives it a little bit of colour as well. And there you have some really easy riverbank canapés. Just like that. Perfect little snack. If only had a gin and tonic. Amazing.